Do you ever start a scrapbook layout? You've got the perfect photos and maybe you've got the perfect paper to go with them and you've got them all laid out, but then you get stuck on how to embellish. Well, today I'm sharing 7 tips that you can use to make sure your embellishing looks good every time. By the way, the last 2 are my favorite. This is day 4 of my scrapbooking challenge, where I have committed to do just a little bit of scrapbooking each day, and I'm bringing you along for the ride. I would love to encourage you to join me if you feel like you don't have the time to scrapbook, or maybe you're just too tired at the end of the day, then join me. And if you need ideas for little things that you can do each day so that you feel creatively productive, then check out my previous videos. I'll have the playlist linked down below if you've missed any of those. Yesterday we selected our paper and I walked you through step by step my process for choosing the papers that will complement my photos the best. So this is approximately where we ended up. But afterwards I played just a little bit and I found a paper in this pack that I didn't see before. And do you see how these photos pop off of that just a little bit more? So I talked yesterday about not wanting to use too much blue because that would bring out the blue in the background rather than helping the subjects to stand out. I thought this still would work okay because it's a white background with just a little bit of blue, but I got my mats on. I've got the white and the black mat around each photo, and it still just wasn't quite working for me. And then I found this striped paper in this pack, which I love. It's kind of supposed to look like notebook paper, but with rainbow lines. And when I put the photos on that, I loved it. And then also yesterday, I was trying to use this cork paper, but when I had it right behind the photos, I didn't love it. I thought that it took too much attention. It kind of dominated this part of the layout. So instead, I put just a skinny strip down the side of this, and I think that is just perfect. So I cut down all of my papers, and I wanted to show you what I did here to save paper. So I took this I had a long strip of the shoes, and since it's not going to be showing here, I just cut a strip here, and this is veering from the sketch a little bit. The sketch had this bumping right up to the edge because it was supposed to be a 2-page layout, and instead I wanted a little bit of the right side to show to mimic the left side. So I just added another little strip of these shoes, although now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking that I want to have a little bit of red here. So this is the piece that cut out from the middle, and there is a red shoe here, and I'm thinking I want to cut this strip instead. It's got a little bit more bright colors that stand out a little bit better, since we're not going to really have a lot of embellishing room over here. So I think instead I'm going to cut this strip, and you know what, it's okay if I waste a little bit of paper. All right, I like that better. So let me show you what else I did. I took a piece of paper that I'm never going to use. It's got like staining on here, and this is my base paper because I'm just going to cover everything up. And instead of using this whole composition notebook pattern on the back, all I need is just this outline to show. So I just cut it to what was going to show and put it on this background. And then I cut some of the pieces to size according to the sketch, even though I altered it just a little bit. And then I will be covering all of them. Like I said, I added this piece, so I just cut off a little strip here, and I'm going to add it over here. And that is actually, I'm having a little bit less of this outline showing than the original sketch because I wanted to have this show, and I needed to make room for that. So we'll lay this down right here, have just a little bit of this showing, and then we will add this on the sides. So one other thing I talked about doing is just a little bit of black inking around each paper. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my black ink pad, and around each paper I'm just going to very lightly do that black inking around there. Now you could use the sponge like this, or you could go direct to paper like that. So I'll go ahead and get that all done off camera. All right, so I've got that done and everything glued down except for this photo because I'm going to put a strip across here. But my first tip is to use stickers if you have them. Stickers, pocket cards, ephemera pieces, those kinds of things are pre-printed, cut out, pretty much done for you embellishments, and those are the quickest way to go. But a lot of times I like more than that, so I will be adding stamping and die cuts and stuff like that. But first I want to choose from my sticker sheet, and one thing I did is this actually was like this was about a 1-inch ruler sticker, and I thought I would want to have a little orange going across here, and this goes perfectly with the backpack that's in all of these photos. So I just cut a 1/2 inch off of there so I could try it, and I really like that right there. So what I'm going to do is just, I actually left just a teeny bit of room so I could tuck that under if I want, and then I'll trim it off on the end here, and then I'll fill in this little piece and do the same thing. So there's my first sticker. All right, so I got that down and I still have this much left over. Now I'm going to choose the rest of my stickers, and I got out my anti-static powder bag. This has powder in it. It's supposed to be used for when you do heat embossing, but it has the powder in it helps get the stick off of your stickers. So I like to do that so I can move my stickers around. So I'm thinking that I might want to use this as my title. In fact, I am pretty sure I want to, because that fits perfectly there, and I love how it brings the colors that are down here up to the top. So I am just going to set that aside right now. And then I also am thinking that I might want to use these books. Looks like I took it off the sticker sheet before one time and stuck it back down not quite right. Because those bring in all of those colors too. And I don't want a ton of color because my photos are more neutral, but I want to bring in just a little bit. So that might go in one of my clusters. I like to just pull everything that I think might work and then get it all ready, and then move on. There's also these little stickers down at the bottom. I think really any of them could work. Mindset, the power of changing I can't to I can. I really like that one. So I think I'm going to use that as a sticker, and then I'll take the stick off of all of those. But then next, I don't have ephemera for this, but I do have some pocket cards. And this one I was thinking would be perfect to cut out this shoe. I do have that on a stamp too, but I like how this shoe is, so I might cut that out and use it. I also have another stack of books that looks like it might be a tiny bit smaller. So if I end up needing a smaller embellishment, I could use this one instead. Or I have this one to use on another layout if I use this and I still have another one. And then another one I could use is these crayons, although I think my kids are maybe just a little bit too old for this now. But it might be a good way to maybe bring in just a little bit of color. I could just have a little bit of one kind of, you know, sticking out from somewhere. So I think what I'll start with is just cutting this out. But first I'm going to take the stick off of these stickers so that I can move them around. And if I end up not liking them and not using them on this layout, then I can just put them back in the little bag with my pocket cards to keep them safe. That's usually what I do with some extra stickers. Like I had this one that I took the stick off from another project that I just put in this bag, but I don't want to use it on this project because I don't think I want to bring in the pink. So I'll just keep that off to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and take the stick off of all of these pieces. Tip number 2 is to use stamps and dies to create custom embellishments. So yesterday we went through and I chose some stamps that I have in my collection, and now that I have my layout kind of started, my plans for these can be a little more fine-tuned. So this one I'm definitely going to want to use because it's got a lot of really good icons and sayings and dies that coordinate with them. This is what was designed to go with Smarty Pants. And this is also where that little, that shoe is if I want another one. And then I've got this one. This one's really old, but it's got this one that says first day of school. And then there's this little wooden frame up here. And I thought that would be cute too. You could turn this on its side and then this will fit in there. And that could be kind of like a subtitle, I guess. And then there's a pencil on here and some other things that might work. We've got this one too. I think this one's probably better for like a title, which I don't need anymore, but I could use like the 3rd and the 6th, maybe put them in a little circle somewhere, a part of the embellishment cluster. So I'll just keep that in there just in case. We have this one here. This is better for like making teacher cards. It's a little more geared towards teachers, but there's this little notebook here. And I thought this would be cute to maybe stamp onto colored paper or patterned paper to add a little bit of color. So we could definitely use that one. And then there's this one. I thought it would be cute to maybe color and cut out the scissors. We have an apple too, in case we need a little more red. There's a little crayon and pencil. I was originally thinking that a crayon doesn't fit these photos and their ages, but my daughter was just telling me that they use crayons all the time, even in 6th grade. And then I have these, which I am thinking I'm going to use for my larger embellishments, especially this large leaf here. And then I just love that it has this embossing folder so that it can emboss and cut out at the same time. We can use either cardstock or pattern paper or do some ink blending on it to add a little bit of color. This one yesterday I wasn't sure about because it's a pretty large spot for journaling and I don't think I'm going to need journaling. And now that I have my layout kind of put together, I don't think I have a spot for this. There's little icons on there and stuff, but I think they're going to be too small. And then we have this one that I pulled out in case I wanted the books, but the stack of books from the pocket card and the sticker sheet have the right colors in them, so I'm not going to need this. But I love that this is an option for if you're using a different paper pack or, you know, different colors and you want to custom color your stamps. So that's exactly illustrating my point of customizing your embellishments. Okay, so I've got all of the stamps out and on blocks that I talked about using, and I have my helper here. This is my daughter, Kaylin. She is going to be helping me stamp. I've got some scraps of paper, and then over here, I have that embossing folder and the dies are in here, and I'm gonna cut it in a whole bunch of different colors. So this leads me to my 3rd and 4th tip, which are to do all of your stamping and die cutting at once before you start, and that will help the embellishing process go smoother if you don't have to stop and stamp or stop and die cut while you're working. And then the next tip is to do multiples in multiple colors while you have it out, just in case you might think you want red, but then you get it on the layout and decide, no, I don't like the red. So you've got a backup that you might like better. So we are going to do that with the embossing folder. I've got some Sundance in case I want to use yellow for like changing leaves. I've also got this holographic paper. This is like a bonus tip, is to use either holographic paper or glitter paper or some little fancy paper to kind of jazz up your embellishment clusters. That's not part of the 7, so I guess we have 8 tips. And then I've also got a white and a green to see if we want just like white would be a really pretty leaf, but more subtle. So in case we don't want to bring in that bold color. And these are, you know, colors that I can use in other projects as well. So if I don't end up using them on this, I definitely can use them for other things. So I'm going to get to embossing, and Kaylin is going to be doing some stamping. And then I found a little bonus in this stamp set here. I had this slipped in the back of the envelope, so I've already got some embellishments stamped that I just need to cut out. So we're gonna get to stamping and embossing and cutting out, and then we'll be back. Now we've got our pieces stamped and die cut. Look at that. embossed detail. I hope that you can catch that. So pretty. I'll post this layout eventually on Instagram with still shots so you can get all of the detail and, you know, screenshot it and stuff if you want to do that. So when you're going to start embellishing, another rule of thumb, and this is going to be tip number 5, is to start with the biggest pieces. So obviously my title is a pretty big piece, and I know where that is going to go pretty much. It'll go about right here. But I want to add a little embellishment there, I think. And then these leaves are pretty big, and these are going to be kind of like the base of my embellishment clusters. So I'm going to kind of start with those and start tucking them here and there. If you don't have larger embellishments, maybe you've got a bunch of smaller ones, then try using a circle, like a die. You can use different sizes depending on the sizes of your other embellishments. You can use a Cricut or other means of cutting a circle, or a doily, tags, other things that you can use as the base of your embellishment cluster to kind of ground them. So I think I'm going to put one right here. And then this is tip number 6, one of my favorites. And if you do anything, I think this is the biggest one to pay attention to. And that is create visual triangles. And you've got the rule of 3, or, you know, it's not a rule, but a guideline of 3. And if you have 3 points of interest, it helps to draw your eye around the page to make sure you take in the details, take in the photos, and it's very pleasing to your eye. So whether you like to have a lot of embellishments like I do, I like to do a lot of layering, or just a little bit of embellishments. Maybe you want a few small little embellishment clusters. As long as you're paying attention to that visual triangle, it's gonna pretty much work out in your favor. And if you're ever working on a layout and you're just like, you know what, this layout is just, something's off, I'm not sure what it is, make sure you've got your visual triangle. And another one is to make sure you've got the colors evenly distributed around the layout. I like to have usually at least all the same colors in each cluster, because that helps draw your eye around the page too. Okay, so I've got my leaves. I think that these leaves that I cut in the colors are going to take away too much. They're going to take too much attention away from the rest of the layout. I don't know, that could work, but I'm going to start with the white. I love the textured white against the white background. I think it's really pretty. And I might add some more little details. Let me take this little tail off. I might add some more little details behind there too. We'll see. So then the next biggest piece is going to be this one. And I stamped this. I actually stamped it on white and on cork. And then I thought, you know what? It's too much to have this part be the cork. So I cut out the center of the white one. And then look at how cute that is with the cork around the frame. And I think this little blank spot down here is going to be perfect for that. And then we have all of these little leaves. These are part of the same die set as these ones, but those are a little bit smaller. I want to try to fit this in. Now we've got color down here, but it's not a ton of color because we have a lot of white space too. I don't want to cover his shoes too much. So what if we kind of bump this down a little bit, or maybe this can go up a tiny bit and move the leaf down. Bump this up, and then that could work like that. I also could maybe put it up here. By the way, this is cut out from that pocket card, the smaller one. I don't really like it up here. I think it could look really cute kind of tucked in right there. And then we have all these little notebooks that I cut out in several colors. They are so cute. I just stamped them in black onto cardstock. So let's see, let's put a little blue over here. I don't want it too close to the photos. And then, I don't know, maybe kind of, we'll add some more up here. Kind of just tuck up one in each cluster and see how that looks. Maybe have that right here. And then I stamped these in several colors, but I'm not sure I want that. I don't think I need, I don't want to cover his shoes. I've got this big thing here. Maybe that could go there or there. I don't know that I like the blue. I don't know that I need these. I can save these and use them on future ones. These scissors, I feel like they're a little bit big scale. This is one of those that I already had stamped, and so I just colored it with my tri-blend markers. I used the pale pink for the eraser. I've got the gold yellow. I just used the medium and the light for the pencil itself. And then I used this muted brown for the tip, just the light color of the muted brown. And I'm not sure where that's gonna go. Maybe I can kind of tuck that up here. I might need to move this color. We'll have to see how that works out. But let's put these in the little clusters. Little leaves like this are great additions to any layout. You can always use leaves, and they're just so fun to add to clusters because you can just kind of stick them in anywhere, and they add some whimsiness, some light and airiness, especially in the case of these because they're so light and airy, and just add layers. So my very favorite tip for embellishing is to add layers. I love adding layers. And in tomorrow's video, I'm going to show you additional ways to add layers as we wrap this up. But see how we can just kind of stick these in, and look at how good the holographic paper looks. It just adds so much to this layout. Let me take this out for now and just see how that looks. So I've got this shoe, and I've got red over in this cluster. I have red up here, but it's way over on the side of the title, so it would be nice to have a little bit here. And then this shoe, it's a little bit big of a scale. I'm not sure. It's not really gonna fit up here. I don't like it up there. Maybe if I move this, kind of stick it here. I was originally thinking kind of like this, but I don't like that. Looks like it's gonna kick her in the head. Maybe kind of tucked over here, and then this can stick out. What if I put that up here? Move these down. And then we have some crayons. I tore this one in half so I can use it in two places. So what if we do something like this, just to bring the colors over here? I think that shoe is gonna work. And then we need some red up here because now we've got it in these two clusters. So let's see if that works, kind of sticking out like that. That could work. And then I think we need some blue up here too. Okay, so see how we've got blue, 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 red, 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 and it helps draw your eye across the page in the three in the visual triangle. I think that looks good. So I have this little word sticker. I'm not sure I'm gonna use that. There's not really a good spot for that, so I'll just save that for later. But I'm liking our clusters so far. I want to add a little bit of inking and layering, and that is going to be part of tomorrow's video, taking it to the next level. So be sure to join us tomorrow for the finale of this layout where we'll pull it all together, take it up to the next level. When that's ready, we will have it right up here. Thanks for watching. Bye.